What's up, everybody? Welcome to What's Up TNS. That's What's Up Things and Stuff. That's where we talk about things and we talk about stuff. Any things and stuff that we want to talk about at any given time when we talk about things and stuff. Right?
That's what I gather.
Okay, so I'm Zach and
I am Heather.
And today, right now, we're sitting here. It's maybe a little loud. I don't know. We got a room full of dogs. They seem to have missed us for some reason. So, today we've had a good eventful day today. It's been a nice day, full of family and things,
and dogs,
and dogs and stuff. But also today, we listened to a lot of old music.
We did listen to a lot of music.
We listened to music that varied from 80s rock ballads to old country music.
50s, 60s, 70s country to 80s rock ballads to... current music. I mean, we just kind of listened to it all.
Yeah, and that kind of got us thinking about music as it stands now.
Right.
Like, listening to that older music, be it, some 80s music, 80s rock music, some old country music. I mean, back then, music, it had a certain sound. I mean, you can feel a musician's emotions in their music, in their lyrics, in the way they sang their lyrics.
Right.
Whereas nowadays, do you really hear much emotion in music?
Basically, what you hear is the music. To me, my own opinion.
Yeah, these are opinions.
Yeah. To me, what you hear today is the music side of it. Oh, that has a good beat. Oh, I like the bass in that. Oh, I like the guitar in that. Oh, I like the drums in that. You don't actually... But do you really listen to the lyrics? And if you do listen to the lyrics, the musicians or the artists that sing them, do they actually write them? Do they feel, the words that they sing?
Yeah. Exactly.
And, half the time these days, you don't, you hear that this person wrote the lyrics for this artist, or you hear, this person wrote lyrics for multiple artists, and it's kind of sad because you listen and you think back to the olden days.
Yeah.
Old country, old rock and roll.
Yeah, where a musician wrote their own stuff. They didn't just perform music. They wrote their music.
Yeah.
They felt their music. Mm-hmm. They performed their music.
Right.
And it radiates in their music. I mean, music that is actually written by the actual artist. It has a certain anchor to it that other music doesn't have.
Right.
I mean, there's a few artists nowadays that we could name offhand, but we're not going to go into that. But there's a certain handful of artists that, you can just listen to their lyrics and the way they sing their lyrics, the way their music is played. Mm-hmm. It has an emotion to it, and you can feel the emotion.
Right.
And it's a certain thing that mainstream music nowadays doesn't have. It's like everything's about, we have to get the hottest thing out right now, where the next hottest thing can come right in behind it next week.
Right.
I mean, And people don't write their own music anymore. They sing somebody else's words on a page, and they just put a beat behind it.
Right. And really, that's what matters to that artist is the music, because if you have a certain tone to it, the audience is going to be like, "Oh yeah,
yeah,
I like the way that sounds. Yeah, I feel that."
Yeah,
but that's not what it's about. I miss the olden days where you could listen to lyrics and you felt something. You could connect.
But you could connect because the composer was actually, they have been through that.
Right.
They have actually been through it.
Right.
And they were singing about it.
Right.
And they were making music about it. And their emotions came through the speakers. They were actually projecting their emotions
right.
with their music because they wrote it, they felt it,
right.
they made it.
Right.
So whereas nowadays, it's like,
yeah, it's sad to me whenever I listen to music, I think, wow, all this artist is worried about is how many radio stations they could get on.
Right.
Let's do crossover stuff. Okay, so not only can you play on a pop station, I can also play on a country station or a rap station, or
right.
or vice versa, however you look at it. And to me, it's not what music is about. It's not about the money. It's about...
Music's about a passion.
It's a passion.
Yeah.
It's what you feel.
Yeah.
It's getting your feelings, your emotion out, and the way however you feel, whether it's pop, country, rock, rap, however you feel it needs to get out, it gets out that way.
Right.
And to me, artists these days don't care about that. It's few and far between.
Yeah,
to find someone who really is passionate about that.
Yeah, and there are a few.
Mm-hmm.
There are a fine few.
Mm-hmm.
And you can definitely tell the difference when you hear somebody who's passionate about what they do versus somebody who's trying to get the next top chart.
Right. And those that are only worried about that chart topper, it's almost so you listen to it and you go, the lost cause. It almost feels that way.
Yeah.
It's like music is a lost cause, but then you hear that one band or person, you could tell that difference.
Mm-hmm.
You they're putting their all into it, that they wrote it, that they're passionate about what they do.
Right.
And it's not all about the money. It's not all about the fame.
Right.
And when you hear that, it's like, oh,
that
is music.
Exactly. It's about putting your emotions into lyrics, into music, to project to other people, to where they can feel what you're going through or relate.
I personally love listening to music from my childhood or something from growing up. May not necessarily be from my childhood. Maybe I was a teenager, or grow.
Or
as
you was
as
in
you're
an area
growing,
where you heard something,
and you hear a song, and you think, like, your brain just goes back to when that particular and it brings you back to that moment.
Yeah.
And it's in a and you feel, you go, oh man, I miss that time.
Yeah.
Oh man, I miss this person in my life, or I miss this time in my life, or oh man, this reminded me of my dog. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever was going on in your life at that time, and you can relate one song to that era.
Yeah.
And that to me is so cool.
Yeah, because music is an extremely powerful thing.
It is.
You can hear. You don't even have to hear an entire song.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can hear certain notes or a certain bridge from a song, and then you're immediately taken back. Like, I mean, it's just like your mind clicks, and you immediately are taken back to a later time when you heard that song and all of the things that happened during that time.
Right.
Music is a time capsule.
It is.
And I mean, nowadays music, it's way different than it was back when we used to listen to it. I mean, whereas maybe some of the people listening to today's music when they get older, they'll be taken back, just because that's just the way, you listen to old stuff and you're taken back. But I don't know if it'll quite have the effect on people then as it does now, because back then it's like music had a purpose. It had a meaning. Every artist, it actually had a... And there were artists back then that didn't write their own music.
Right.
There was. But there was a majority of actual artists and musicians and people who actually wrote what they felt.
Right.
And, I mean, there's a handful of artists that I used to listen to that I can't remember, but it's like the ones that I do remember that stick with me. It's like, okay, they were the ones that actually wrote their own music,
Right.
And it's like people, it has a deeper connection. You can feel more. Even in whenever they sing their lyrics, you can tell the way they sing their lyrics that they have a connection to the words. Just certain notes that they hit. When they hit a certain note, if their voice cracks, you can hear it. I mean, and nowadays, do you hear emotion in music nowadays?
The music I listen to, no, but and that's honestly why I don't listen to the radio much anymore, because what I have heard, it's not that I don't like it, it's it's not
Genuine.
right.
Yeah.
Right. You listen to it and you go, and it's not that I don't like, it's not that, oh, I'm older and I don't like the music. It's just, it's not genuine. It's not them writing the lyrics, or if it is, it's, they're focused on making a chart topper.
Yeah.
Or being a crossover, song, or, whatever.
Yeah.
They're not worried about, hey, I want to reach this fan.
Yeah.
I want to reach
this person.
I want to reach to the people and let them know how I feel.
Or like, I want to reach to other people that may be feeling the same thing that I'm feeling when I'm writing this one song.
Right.
I'm not saying that music with a good beat is a bad thing. I like mindless music.
Yeah.
I do like mindless music. I'm not saying it's bad.
Right. And I like all genre. I don't have it. There's not a genre of music that I will not listen to.
Yeah.
I am a fan of music.
Exactly.
Music, whether it could be classical, it could be heavy metal, it could be rap, it could be classic country. It could be Bollywood. I mean, I'll listen to anything. I will listen to anything. But
Yeah.
but my point is, you know, when it's not genuine.
Yeah.
You can tell.
And see, that's the problem with it, because I don't have a problem with just music, just
Right.
like with no purpose, just music to be music.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with it, but when the market is overly flooded with that's all it is just music to make the top of the charts,
Right.
to have people to buy it, to have people to make money, to have people to make money.
Right.
It's not genuine. It's not what this artist is going through. It is not trying to reach somebody. It is not their feelings on a piece of paper going into music. It is somebody else wrote something that somebody else bought, that this person's going to buy, that's going to mix it with something else, that's going to go on to be a chart topper, that person's going to get thrown in the ditch the next week because they're not at the top 10. It's not about that.
Right. To me, whenever I listen to the radio and I go, oh, I like Rihanna's new song, but then it turns out not to be Rihanna. Whenever I hear a song and it's a girl who wants to be like Rihanna, who tries to sound like Rihanna, and there's 5 or 6 other women or girls who want to have that exact same sound. That is not original.
No.
Whenever I get confused and I go, this sounds like Rihanna or Adele or whoever one of the big names is these days, and I go, that sounds like this person, but it is not this person. It's somebody I've never heard before. That's not original.
No.
I want to know the difference between your sound
Exactly.
and this other chart topper.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. I want you to be original.
Yeah. Because music is original.
Music is supposed to be original.
Music is supposed to be personal. It's supposed to be original. It is supposed to be your feelings. That's all classical music was. Those composers, their emotions, their heart and soul was put into those keys, into those instruments, and projected.
And they never had one word put into their
Not
music.
one word, but
they
you could feel.
But you knew who it was.
You knew who it was. You could feel emotion. You immediately knew the difference between Beethoven and Bach and
Beethoven, Chopin.
You immediately knew because of their tones. Their tones in their music.
In the
because
feel.
Each artist had their personality projected into their music. And it continued to an extent. And then it dropped off. It dropped off to who can be the next hot thing to cross all of these things and make us all of this money. It is not aspiring people who want to get their sound out, to get their emotions out, to reach somebody. I'm not a musician, but music is an escape for people. It is a way for people to get out all of their feelings.
Right.
Much like comedians. Most comedians, comedy is an escape for their reality.
Right.
And that's music. You can put your feelings on a piece of paper and have other people experience it and understand it and know what you're going through.
Right. Me personally, my favorite era of music is 80s ballads, rock ballads, not pop, it's 80s rock ballads, 90s alternative.
90s alternative, yeah.
Because you hear it and I don't care what you hear it and you feel something and it brings you back.
Oh yeah.
And it brings you back to a place where, you know, that's why I listen to it so much. It's such a good, it's just good music. And it's real music.
And yes, it is real. It is.
You know, and you could tell, you could listen to Pearl Jam or, from the 90s alt, you could listen to Oasis, you could listen to Bush, you could listen to, there's so many bands you could hear and you feel.
Yeah, you
what they're singing, what they're putting out, and you feel it. And it's not just, oh, I like that beat. No, it's more than that.
Yeah, it all of their words have a meaning.
All of them.
Everything has a meaning, and everything is relevant to that person.
Right.
And all of those bands, do any of those bands sound the same?
No, not really.
No, they don't. You know a Bush song when it comes on.
You know. Yeah, right. You know Gavin Rossdale. You know his voice. You know.
I mean, you don't even have to hear his voice. As soon as that first beat hits, you go, that Bush.
Right.
I mean,
it's just, they're just, 90s alt to me was...
I think,
great.
in my own opinion, IMO. 90s alternative was probably the last era in which there were real musicians.
Was real music. It was.
I mean, I didn't listen to much 90s rap. I our 90s country. That was on the turn where, I listened to a lot of country growing up. Right. I didn't respect it.
Me too.
Growing up.
But
now I listen to old country and I can respect it because I can actually understand, okay, these people were going through some stuff. You can actually feel their lyrics, because country music, it had a lot of twangy guitars, it was just doom, twangy guitars.
But that's what you heard.
But now when you actually listen to the lyrics,
wow,
yeah, they actually, because country music artists, they wrote their music on experience.
Right.
And you can hear it. You can hear it in their voice. You can hear it in their lyrics. Much like 90s alternative. You can hear in the musician's voice when they're singing, in their music, and when it went into rock, you could actually hear expressions in the actual way that they played their music. Country music's not like that. You just heard it all in their voice.
Yeah.
But
one of my favorite 90s alt artists, and still to this day, and her words are just fabulous. Her music is fabulous. You hear a song and it takes you back. But you listen to her words and they're just phenomenal. And that is Alanis Morissette. She is one of my favorite 90s alt artists. Because she just, some of her stuff may not have made too much sense, but that's her. That's her writing. That's her music. But you hear, you hear her music and it's just, wow. That's real. That's real. And that's when, really... and that is 90s alternative is really when it like you said, it's the last real,
Yeah, well, but, in our opinion.
But well, of course, but today's music, it's hard to find music that has instruments
or
you know,
a feeling.
A feeling. You know,
everything's up in the club.
Everything is,
you know,
on a synthesizer, or it's it's on a machine. It's not musically. It's not. There's no real feel to it.
Yeah.
Lyrically, it's just what's popular.
Yeah.
You know.
What's popular? Clubs and
it's
pills?
that and heartbreak. That's popular.
Yeah, that is a popular topic.
That's a popular topic. Heartbreak. Okay, let's relate to that. Or an ex.
Yeah.
And an ex boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. That's popular.
Yeah.
People can relate to that these days.
Yeah. Will they be able to relate to it 20 years later when they hear that music? I mean,
and people have been singing about, ex-boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever, since way back. But
and
it's a different way.
Yeah, and going back to old country, there's a lot of heartbreak in old country. There is a lot of heartbreak.
And people make fun of it to this day.
People make fun of it.
It's whiny.
I used to make fun of it.
And I did too.
But there's a difference. Old country, when you listen to it, you can feel the heartbreak. Mm-hmm. You can feel the emotions of, well, I won't say the music, because the music all kind of, it's all twangy country music, but you can feel the emotions in their voice, in the way they're singing it. You can feel it as if that person has experienced it, and they are expressing their emotions to you. Mm-hmm. You can feel it. Mm-hmm. Can you feel emotions like that today when somebody's talking about heartbreak or their ex? No, not really. Maybe Adele. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can.
Because that's powerful.
You can there. But and how many records has she had? Like, two?
Yeah, and she's
but
billions of copies of her album
but
sold. But she is one of those artists that I truly define as an artist. She is. She's one of those. Adele. She is emotional. Mm-hmm. She is strong with her lyrics. Mm-hmm. Have you heard a song that hasn't been on the radio? If you haven't, you should.
No,
it's great.
I've just heard what's popular.
Right, because that's what you hear normally.
Yeah,
but
I don't listen to the radio,
right?
Though,
and that's why I don't. But Adele is a very good. She's wonderful. But talking about lyrics and music, my dad is a musician. He plays in a band. He has since before I came into this world. And he, him and his band recorded an original album. And he wrote a song for my mother. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful song. You hear it and you feel, and you almost see the passion. Mm-hmm. When you hear it. You're like, wow, and that comes from him, from deep down. Mm-hmm. He wrote it. Him and his band performed it, and it is a powerful thing. And you listen to it, and keep in mind, they recorded this song 20 plus years ago. Yeah. They were... No. I take that... It was about 25-ish years ago. Yeah. They recorded this song. And I hear it today, if I do hear it today. And it takes... And then I see my parents, and it's like, wow, it's so powerful. The love. He feels that from, my mom. Yeah, yeah. That's and you see it. You see the passion. Yeah. You feel it. You feel the words. And it's, wow, my dad feels that way for my mom. That is that is magical almost,
Right.
you know?
They grew up in a time, your dad grew up in a time where music was actually music. Right. It was actually people's feelings that they projected, and that's where that comes from. That's real music. In my opinion. I mean, music can be a beat. Music can be a nice fat beat.
Music can be anything you want it to be. However, I feel today's music just isn't what it used to be. You almost appreciate the older style music, whether it be country, rock, rap, whatever. Mm-hmm. Whatever you see.
Yeah.
You appreciate it more. Because you hear it and you know there's a meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Today's music is, and I will say this, I will scream it from the rooftops. It is absolute garbage.
Rubbish.
It is garbage.
It's
it
rubbish.
Is garbage.
Because
there's.
I'll
I
turn on
tried.
the radio and I'll turn it off because unless I'm listening to an old rock station,
right?
Because I mean, there's no old country stations. There's no old rap stations. There's no old. Did I say country? Mm-hmm. Okay. There's no old stations except for rock, and then everything else is like weird music, talk radio, or pop.
It's chart toppers.
Chart toppers.
Chart toppers is what it is.
All it is.
And they all sound the same.
And I cannot stand it.
They all sound the same. You hear this song and, oh, didn't I just hear this?
Yeah.
No, it's a different song.
Yeah, it's a different song.
It all
sounds the same. Everything's synthesized. There's no emotion in anything. I can't do it.
Everybody's worried about being a crossover musician or being a chart topper in that particular genre and worried about the money and being, famous.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't give two shits. I'm a fan of music.
Right.
I want music.
Yeah.
Me being a fan of music, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit if you're famous, if you're a chart topper. No. I want good music. Right. That's what I want.
Yeah. And we're not saying that all music nowadays is rubbish. There are very few artists now that are true artists. Mm-hmm. Will you hear them on the radio? Probably not. Mm-hmm. You probably will absolutely not hear them on the radio. But right. Do they have a following? Yes, they absolutely do.
Right.
Do they continuously make money? Probably not as much as the chart toppers, but yeah, they get by. They get by enough for them to continue doing what they love to do, right. Which is project their emotions into music and let other people feel it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what music's about. Mm-hmm. It's not about, I gotta have 15 Porsches and Ferraris and shit and drive around with $1 million satchels of money.
Right.
It's about projecting your emotions, doing it for an audience and making your way, doing what you love.
Exactly. My dad has been a musician since he was in high school. My dad's 60 years old.
Yeah.
Is he rich and famous? No. He gets by.
Right.
But he does what he loves to do.
Right.
He is a musician. He plays in a band. Granted, it's a local band. But that's what he loves to do. And he's good at what he does.
And he makes money doing it. And he gets his feelings out.
I mean, he absolutely... That is his getaway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Music is a getaway.
It is a release. That is a tension... Whatever is going on with you at home or whatever. Work, home, what have you. Music is a getaway. And I don't care if you are a musician or a listener.
Yeah.
Music is a beautiful thing. It is a art, and I feel like it is a coming to be a lost art.
It's about to be a lost art. Yeah, it really feels
and
that way.
I feel that way, but you know, listening to old music today really just I appreciate it a lot more.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know? And listeners, you should too.
Yeah, appreciate
Just,
old music.
You know, whatever you're into, I don't know what you're into. Whatever you're into, really listen to it.
Yeah.
You know,
It doesn't
really,
matter if you prefer rock, rap, pop,
it doesn't,
country.
the genre
Listen to the
doesn't
lyrics.
matter. The genre has it doesn't matter whatever you're into.
Because we listen to all of it.
We do, and we appreciate it. You know, we appreciate. However, whenever it's not, we know, and we're not music professionals, but I could tell
By no means.
By no means, but I could tell the difference between, you know, what is written by the artist, sang, you know, compared to what's out today. I mean, it's pure garbage.
So I mean, that's some of our thoughts on music. You know, today just kind of took us back. We were taken back by a lot of music that we listened to today. I mean, just really, you know, listening to music, actually listening to the lyrics, understanding what those actual musicians were going through. And we're not saying that everybody today is not actual musicians. There are actual musicians nowadays. But what we're saying is the market is flooded and music is a dying breed.
Yeah.
It really is.
Like real music. Like you said, music is a time capsule.
It's a time capsule.
It's
you
a
have to hold on
thing.
to hold on to everything. Music is one of the very few things that 20 years from now you can listen to a song and you're immediately taken back to that exact moment where you first heard that song, and you can remember smells. You can remember the people that was around you. You can remember what you felt at that time.
Yeah, the weather.
Music,
I mean, it's amazing.
when it is done right, you can feel you are taken back. It is a time capsule. It is the one true time capsule.
It's a beautiful
seriously.
Thing. It is a beautiful thing. And, you know, folks, appreciate music, the genres, the decades. You know, listen back, way back. It's an amazing thing. Music is a beautiful thing, and I will continue saying that. It may be a lost cause, but there's artists that's few and far between that have their head in the game. They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing, and if you actually hear them, you will know.
You'll know
who it is.
And you know, so just keep listening.
Keep listening, you know. Go and really just actually listen
and support your local musician.
Yes.
Local musicians are great. Some local acts. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
just
support
listen
local music. It's a good thing. It's a great thing, you know. I used to go to local shows when I was younger. It's a good community. It gets the community together. It builds local music. It builds local musicians. It's a really good thing. And just go back to some older music. It doesn't matter what genre you're into. Just if you hear something, just kind of listen. You can tell where an artist is coming from. Just kind of listen and see if you can relate. You're not gonna like everything. No, you're not. But music's a powerful thing. All artists need to be given a chance. A lot of new artists, we do give a lot of new artists chances, but
Right.
they
disappoint.
They very much disappoint.
But
I'm not saying all new artists are bad. Just saying, go back into the time capsule, even if it's before you were thought of. Go back and listen. If you go back and listen to old music, you can have a sense of the time period in which that music existed.
Right.
They paint a picture.
Right.
What's the picture of this current going on right now generation painted as? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if you listen to the radio, that time capsule, it doesn't look very good.
No.
It doesn't look good at all.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
You go back and you listen to other layers of that time capsule, and you got some homework.
Right.
Go back and do it.
Absolutely.
You will be very surprised. It's crazy.
Take that as you will.
Take it as you will.
Take it as you will.
Take that as you will. Go do your homework and see what you come up with.
You're absolutely right.
But that's our thoughts. That's our thoughts right now, and we'll catch you next time. It's Zach
and as always, it's Heather.
And you can follow us on Twitter at whatsup_TNS, and you can drop us a line at whatsuptns
at
gmail.com at gmail.
Leave feedback. We would love to hear from you, your thoughts. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate your input, your thoughts, and we will see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.